Hey guys, I'm back, welcome back to the channel, and in today's video I'm going to be doing a movie review on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. This is the third Guardians of the Galaxy movie and the conclusion to the trilogy. It is the 32nd MCU movie. It stars Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, and Will Poulter. In this movie, still reeling from the loss of Gamora, Peter Quill must rally his team to defend the universe and protect one of their own. If the mission is not completely successful, it could possibly lead to the end of the Guardians as we know them. That's just me reading off the plot synopsis on Google. Anyway, this is going to be a spoiler-free review, and without further ado, let's begin with this review and let's start talking about the positives. And I would say that this is a fitting end to the trilogy, which just delivers a final round of what people love about this group of characters and the franchise up to this point, really. The charm that has worked so well in the previous movies is still here, and it is still great, making for a really entertaining watch. The cast is great, the characters are great, and the group dynamic is stronger than ever here, in my opinion. And a lot of that is thanks to James Gunn directing, and James Gunn's directing, and he does a really great job with this movie. So that was great to see. It's a great film for fans of this franchise, as it really is just a final round of what has worked so well about it. It's generally just quite a thrilling movie as well. It's got some pretty great action scenes, which is good to see, and I'd say it has, like, in general, some of the better, like, visuals and the CGI that an MCU movie has had recently in comparison to some of their previous films recently. And in some ways similar to that, it just kind of reminds you why we all went out to see Marvel Studios movies in the first place, because we wanted to see exciting stories like this, as opposed to it just kind of being somewhat of an obligation like it is nowadays, a little bit. It really kind of reminds you why the MCU got so popular, because of movies like this. As I said, the cast is great, and the group really is just so much fun to watch on screen together, and it's just a very entertaining movie, which is what you want from a Guardians of the Galaxy movie, and it really does work as the final film in this trilogy. I think as a whole conclusion, and in terms of a movie that's meant to be wrapping things up, I feel like it's not the strongest the MCU has to offer, needless to say, because the MCU has Avengers Endgame, but it still really does work, and it's quite funny, and simultaneously it's one of the darker, if not the darkest film in the MCU. And I feel like that like it doesn't feel too tonally inconsistent, because it doesn't do a Thor Love and Thunder where it just ruins all of its dark moments or more serious moments with the humor. And I feel like it's the humor is kept at suitable limits, I guess, is how you could say it. Because it doesn't ruin itself with its humor like Thor Love and Thunder did. But anyway, moving on from that, Rocket's backstory, which is obviously explored in this film, is definitely quite dark, needless to say, if you know anything about it. And I feel like it was done really well, and I like how it added a few extra layers to Rocket's character. And it also kind of shows you how horrible of a person the main villain is in this film, so that was good. And it's just, in general, one of the edgier MCU movies, with it having the MCU's first F-bomb, and it being occasionally more violent than most of the other MCU entries, so I like that element of it, and I'm not really surprised, to be honest, considering the fact it's a Guardians of the Galaxy movie. I'm not really too surprised that it's one of the edgier MCU movies, but maybe that's just me. And the final thing here, in line with the previous Guardians of the Galaxy movies, the soundtrack in this one is pretty good. So I'd say this is a great end to the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy. However, there are, of course, flaws, so now let's move on to the negatives. A few issues here. First of all, I don't think the villain is that good. You care enough about what is going on to the point where you want to see him get defeated, and you do hate him. But at the same time, he's not really fleshed out enough as a character, and as a result, you don't really care about him that much as a villain, or at least I didn't. Alongside that, I don't think Will Poulter's character, Adam Warlock, was that good either. He's an okay enough character, but he's like, he didn't really feel like a necessary addition, and he could have just been pulled out of the movie with no ramifications. This is quite a minor issue, but I did say, like, as a conclusion, it's definitely not the best the MCU has to offer. And I do think that, I like, as an end to the trilogy, it was very fitting, but at the same time, I don't think it was an amazing conclusion in terms of, like, a film that wraps everything up very neatly. Like, it does do that at points, but at the same time, it is also, like, it does kind of feel like it only decides to be a conclusion in, like, the third act, so that was a little bit disappointing, I guess, but not really. I mean, it's no endgame, but that's just, like, a really minor issue. That's just me nitpicking. It's not a major issue that really stuck out to me that much, and I'm sure a lot of people would disagree with me on it, and for the most part, I didn't really feel that way, but it simultaneously kind of did. So I'm sorry this was a short review. I mean, sometimes I just have, like, reviews that are really short, and I don't have any good explanation for them. I just have more to say about some films than others, so I know this was a short review, and sorry about that, I guess, but I do think Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is a really great and fitting end to the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy. It's very fun, it's great for fans of this franchise, it delivers a final round of what fans have loved about it, of what has worked so well about it. The cast and characters are great, there is some good character stuff here, in particular with Rocket. There are a few nitpicks here and there, but overall this is still a really enjoyable movie, and as I've said, a great end to the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy. And this is kind of what the MCU has needed recently, as other people have said. Granted, it is by James Gunn, so I don't know if we'll be seeing this level of quality again in the MCU anytime soon, but I was very happy with this one, so I'm giving Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 an 8.5 out of 10. Thank you very much for watching this review. If you did enjoy, please do remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe if you want to. If you have seen this movie, feel free to let me know your thoughts on it in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, bye-bye.